slap never landed. Instead, Karen's hand froze midair as the police sirens wailed in the distant sirens she had called herself, not knowing that everything she'd done in the past hour had been caught on camera. The neighborhood kids, splashing in the pool behind me, had no idea they were about to witness the most spectacular meltdown in suburban history. Karen's face went white as she realized the truth. She wasn't the victim in this story. She was about to become the villain in her own nightmare. The morning sun glinted off the crystal-clear water of Maya Chen's newly installed pool, casting dancing reflections across the pristine deck she'd spent 3 months planning. At 28, Maya had finally achieved her dream of homeownership. In the quiet suburb of Willowbrook, complete with the backyard oasis she'd fantasized about since childhood, today was supposed to be perfect her housewarming pool party, surrounded by friends, family, and the promise of endless summer days ahead. "Maya, this is incredible," her best friend Jessica called out, adjusting her sun hat as she surveyed. The immaculate setup, colorful pool, floats bobbed gently in the water, while a spread of fresh fruit, sandwiches, and homemade lemonade waited on the patio table. String lights hung between the newly planted palm trees, ready to illuminate the evening festivities. Maya beamed with pride, smoothing down her flowing sundress. 3 years of overtime shifts at the hospital, but it was worth every extra hour. She gestured toward the house, its windows sparkling in the sunlight. "I still can't believe it's actually mine." The first guests began arriving around noon. Maya's college friends, a few colleagues from the pediatric ward where she worked as a nurse, and her elderly neighbor, Mr. Patterson, who'd been nothing but kind since she'd moved in 2 months ago. The laughter was infectious as people jumped into the pool, played volleyball, and shared stories on the comfortable outdoor furniture Maya had carefully selected. "You've really outdone yourself," said her cousin Marcus, emerging from the pool. With a grateful smile, "After the year I've had with the divorce, this is exactly what I needed." Maya handed him a towel, her heart full. This was what she'd envisioned, bringing people together, creating joy, being the kind of neighbor and friend who made life a little brighter. She'd even invited the families on either side of her property, though the Hendersons had politely declined due to a prior commitment. That left Karen Morrison. Maya had met Karen exactly once, 3 days after moving in. The 40-something woman had appeared at Maya's front door with a forced smile and a store-bought pie, introducing herself as the neighborhood watch coordinator and someone who keeps an eye on property values. The conversation had been pleasant enough, though Maya had noticed Karen's eyes constantly scanning the interior of her home, as if cataloging every detail. "I do hope you'll be a good fit for our community," Karen had said, her tone suggesting. This was more warning than welcome. "We maintain certain standards here, quiet hours, appropriate landscaping, that sort of thing." Maya had nodded politely, though something about Karen's demeanor had left her unsettled. Still, she'd extended a genuine invitation to today's party, hoping to start fresh. Now, at 2:30 p.m., with the party in full swing, Maya was beginning to think Karen simply wasn't coming, which was fine. Everyone else was having an amazing time. Marco shouted 8-year-old Tommy, Mr. Patterson's grandson, as he jumped into the pool with a massive splash. The elderly man chuckled from his lawn chair, keeping a watchful eye on the boy while chatting with Maya's coworker Sarah about his late wife's garden. The sound of children's laughter, mixed with adult conversation, created the perfect backdrop. Maya's playlist, carefully curated to include something for everyone, provided just the right ambience. Everything was exactly as she'd hoped. Then the music stopped, not gradually, but abruptly, as if someone had yanked the power cord. Maya looked around, confused, then noticed her neighbor standing at the edge of her property line, holding what appeared to be some kind of signal jammer. Karen Morrison had arrived, but this wasn't the politely smiling woman who'd brought the pie. This Karen wore a scowl that could curdle milk, her graying hair pulled back so tightly it seemed to stretch her features. She wore a floral dress that had seen better days and clutched a manila folder thick with papers. "Excuse me," Karen's voice cut through the sudden quiet like a rusty blade. "Excuse me?" Every head turned toward the sound. Mr. Patterson frowned. Tommy stopped mid-splash, and Maya felt her stomach drop as she recognized the look in Karen's eyes, the same expression she'd seen on difficult family members in the hospital. The ones who were about to make everyone's day significantly worse. Maya approached the property line with what she hoped was a diplomatic smile. "Hi, Karen. I'm so glad you could make it. There's plenty of food, and this is completely unacceptable," Karen interrupted, waving the folder in the air. "Do you have any idea what you've done? What you're doing to this neighborhood?" The party guests exchanged uncomfortable glances. Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks, but kept her voice steady. "I'm not sure I understand. We're just having a small gathering with friends and family." Small, Karen's laugh was harsh and bitter. "There are at least 15 people here, cars parked everywhere, and the noise, my poor precious, hasn't stopped barking since noon." As if summoned by her name, a small, yapping dog appeared at Karen's feet, a Chihuahua mix that looked as agitated as its owner. Maya glanced at the street, where perhaps 6 cars were parked legally along the curb, nowhere near Karen's driveway or mailbox. "Karen, I made sure everyone parked properly, and we're well within the noise ordinances. The party just started, and we plan to wrap up by, don't you lecture me about ordinances." Karen stepped closer, her voice rising to a near shriek. "I've lived in this neighborhood for 12 years. I know every rule, every regulation, every code, and what you're doing here is illegal." She opened the manila folder with dramatic flair, revealing what appeared to be printed pages from the Homeowners Association website, various city codes, and what looked like a hand-drawn diagram of Maya's property. "Pool parties require a permit for gatherings over 10 people, Karen declared, holding up a highlighted page. "You're supposed to notify neighbors 48 hours in advance. And look at this," she pointed an accusatory finger. "At the string lights, those decorative lights aren't up to code. They're a fire hazard." Maya felt her chest tighten. She'd researched everything, followed every rule she could find. "Karen, I checked the HOA guidelines. There's nothing about permits for private parties, and I did invite you. An invitation is not the same as proper notification." Karen's face was turning an alarming shade of red. "And another thing, that pool. When did you install that monstrosity? Where's your variance permit? Did you get soil tests? Property line surveys?" "I have all the proper permits," Maya said, her voice beginning to shake with frustration. "The city inspector approved everything. The contractors were licensed, and contractors." Karen's eyes lit up with malicious glee. "Were they here?" "During approved construction hours, because I distinctly remember hearing power tools at 7:45 a.m. on a Tuesday. The noise ordinance clearly states that construction cannot begin before 8 a.m. on weekdays." Maya stared at her, incredulous. "You're upset about 15 minutes. Rules are rules," Karen shrieked. "And you people always think you can just move into a nice neighborhood and do whatever you want." The words hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Maya felt every eye on her, saw the expressions of her guests shift from confusion to anger. Mr. Patterson slowly stood from his chair, his face grim. "You people," Maya repeated, her voice dangerously quiet. For a moment, Karen seemed to realize she'd crossed a line. But instead of backing down, she doubled down. "I mean people who don't respect established communities. People who think they can just take over." "Take over," Maya's control finally snapped. "I bought this house. I pay my mortgage. I pay my taxes. I work 60-hour weeks at the children's hospital saving lives. What exactly am I taking over?" Karen's response was swift and vicious. "You're ruining everything. Property values, neighborhood character, our peaceful way of life. And if you think I'm going to stand by and watch you turn this place into some kind of party central, you're dead wrong." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. "I'm calling the police and code enforcement." "And the HOA? We'll see how long your little party lasts then." Maya watched in disbelief as Karen began dialing, her finger jabbing at the screen with vindictive satisfaction. Around the pool, her guests stood frozen, children clinging to their parents, everyone uncertain whether to leave or stay. But as Karen lifted the phone to her ear, something caught Maya's eye. There, mounted discreetly under the eave of her house, was the security camera she'd installed last week, the one with the wide lens that captured not just her property, but a good portion of the street and sidewalk. The camera that had been recording everything for the past 10 minutes. Maya's lips curved into the first genuine smile she'd felt since the music stopped. Karen had no idea that her entire meltdown, every word of her tirade, every gesture of her fury was being captured in high-definition video. As Karen began speaking to the 911 dispatcher, her voice rising, Maya's first call was to her friend David, a civil rights attorney who'd been splashing in the pool just minutes earlier. He emerged from the water, his expression darkening as she whispered a quick summary of Karen's tirade. Did she really say, "You people"? David asked, water still dripping from his hair. Maya nodded toward the security camera. It's all recorded. Ivid's smile was sharp as a blade. Good. Keep that footage safe, and whatever you do, don't engage with her anymore. Let her dig her own grave. While Karen continued her animated phone call with the police, pacing back and forth on the sidewalk like a caged animal. Maya's second call went to her supervisor at the hospital, Dr. Rachel Martinez. Maya, what's wrong? You sound upset. I need a character reference, Maya said quietly, stepping away from her guests. A neighbor is making false reports about me to the police, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning. Dr. Martinez's voice turned steely. What kind of reports? She's claiming I'm running some kind of illegal operation here, disturbing the peace, code violations, the works. Rachel, I think this might be racially motivated. There was a pause. Dr. Martinez had been the chief of pediatrics for 15 years and had seen her share of discrimination disguised as bureaucratic complaints. I'll make some calls, she said. Don't worry, Maya. We've got your back. Maya's third call was to her mortgage broker, Janet Wu, who'd helped her navigate the complex process of buying the house. Janet had warned her about potential neighbor issues in suburban communities, especially for young professional women of color. I need the contact information for the city inspector who approved my pool installation, Maya said, and anyone else who can verify that everything was done legally and properly, already on it, Janet replied. I'll have a full file sent to your email within the hour. Maya, are you okay? You sound shaken. Before Maya could answer, Karen's voice rose to a shriek that carried across the entire block. Yes, I said dangerous. There are children unsupervised in that pool. The homeowner is clearly negligent. This is a public safety issue. Maya looked at the pool, where Tommy was safely playing with his grandfather, watching closely, and where every other child was clearly supervised by attentive parents. Her jaw clenched. I'm about to be, Maya told Janet. Officer Bradley Chen, no relation to Maya, despite the shared surname, arrived first. His patrol car pulling up just as Karen was reaching the crescendo of her performance. He was a 15-year veteran of the force, and his expression suggested he'd heard this particular song before. Ma'am, I'm responding to your call about a disturbance, he said to Karen, his tone professionally neutral. Can you show me the problem? Karen practically vibrated with vindication. Officer, thank goodness you're here. This woman has been running an illegal operation all day. Look at this chaos. She gestured wildly at Maya's backyard, where the chaos consisted of people quietly standing around, drinks in hand, looking more uncomfortable than threatening. Several guests had started to pack up, clearly not wanting to be part of whatever was unfolding. Officer Chen looked at the scene, then at Karen, then back at the scene. Ma'am, I see a private pool party on private property. What exactly is the disturbance, the noise, the cars, the violations? Karen thrust her manila folder at him. I have documentation of every single infraction. This woman is destroying our neighborhood. The officer accepted the folder politely, but didn't open it. Instead, he walked over to Maya, who was standing by her back door with her arms crossed. Are you the homeowner? He asked. Yes, sir. Maya. Chen. I have all my permits and documentation inside if you need to see them. Any complaints from other neighbors? Maya gestured toward Mr. Patterson, who was walking over with his grandson's hand in his. Mr. Patterson lives right next door. He's been here enjoying the party. The elderly man nodded to the officer. Bradley, good to see you, son. How's your mother doing? Officer Chen's professional demeanor softened slightly. She's doing well, Mr. Patterson. Thanks for asking. He glanced between the two men, clearly recognizing a local connection. Any issues with the party today? None whatsoever, Mr. Patterson said firmly. Maya's been nothing but considerate since she moved in. Introduced herself properly, keeps her property immaculate, Even helped me with my groceries last week when my back was acting up. He shot a pointed look at Karen. Some folks could learn a thing or two about being neighborly. Karen's face turned an even deeper shade of red. That's completely irrelevant. The rules are the rules, regardless of personal relationships. Officer Chen turned back to her with the patience of someone who dealt with this exact situation countless times. Ma'am, what specific law do you believe is being broken here? Noise ordinances, permit violations, parking infractions. Okay, let's start. With noise. Do you have a decibel meter reading? Karen blinked. A what? To violate the noise ordinance, the sound level has to exceed specific decibel limits. Did you take any measurements? I don't need measurements. I have ears. Officer Chen nodded patiently. Right, but for a citation, we need objective measurements. What time did the alleged violation occur? All day, starting at noon. The officer checked his watch. It's 3:15 p.m. The noise ordinance doesn't go into effect until 10 p.m. on weekends. He flipped through his citation book. What about the parking violations? Are any vehicles blocking driveways, fire hydrants, handicapped spaces? Karen's confidence wavered slightly. Well, no, but there are just so many cars. Ma'am, people are allowed to park on public streets as long as they're not violating specific regulations. Officer Chun's tone remained professional, but Maya could detect a hint of exasperation creeping in. What about the permit violations? This was Karen's moment. Pool installations require multiple permits: building permits, electrical permits, plumbing permits. I bet she doesn't have any of them. Maya stepped forward. Officer, I have copies of all permits inside. The city inspector signed off on everything 3 weeks ago. Would you like to see them? That would be helpful. Thank you. As Maya headed inside, she heard Karen's voice rising again. You're not taking this seriously. This woman is a menace. She's going to destroy property values. She's going to turn this into a party house. Ma'am, Officer Chen interrupted, his tone sharpening slightly. I need you to lower your voice and stick to specific, factual complaints. Maya returned with a folder of official documents: building permits, electrical permits, plumbing permits, pool installation permits, all properly stamped and approved. Officer Chen reviewed them thoroughly while Karen fumed behind him. Everything appears to be in order, he said finally. Mrs. Chen, you're in full compliance with all city regulations. That's impossible. Karen snatched the documents from his hands before he could stop her. These have to be fake or expired. Or, ma'am, please return those documents to the homeowner, Officer Chen said, his patience clearly wearing thin. Karen clutched the papers to her chest. I'm keeping these as evidence. This whole thing is a scam. Maya stepped forward. Karen, those are my personal documents. Please, give them back. I don't have to give you anything. Karen backed away, still holding the papers. You're a fraud, a liar, a ma'am. You need to return those documents immediately, or I'll have to charge you with theft, Officer Chen said, his hand moving to his handcuffs. For a moment, Karen looked like she might actually run. Then David stepped forward, his phone held high. I've been recording this entire interaction, he said calmly, including the part where you took someone else's property without permission. Karen's eyes went wide as she realized she'd been caught on camera again. But instead of backing down, she seemed to snap completely. You're all in on it, she shrieked, throwing the documents at Maya's feet. This whole thing is a conspiracy. You moved here to ruin everything, to take over, to push out decent, law-abiding citizens. The mask had finally come off completely. Officer Chen's expression hardened as he recognized the ugly truth beneath Karen's complaints. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to calm down and return to your property. I will not calm down. I will not be silenced. I know what you people are trying to do, and I won't stand for it. There it was again. You people. This time with a police officer as witness. Officer Chen looked at Maya, then at David with his phone, then at the security camera mounted on the house. His training kicked in as he realized this situation was about to escalate beyond a simple neighbor dispute. Ma'am, I'm giving you one final warning to return to your property and end this harassment. Harassment? Karen's laugh was wild and bitter. I'm the one being harassed. By her. By all of you. This is my neighborhood. Mine. She lunged forward, her hand raised, aiming straight for Maya's face. But Maya was ready. Maya had spent 3 years working in pediatric emergency medicine, dealing with everything from panicked parents to violent, intoxicated relatives. She'd learned to read body language, to anticipate when someone was about to lash out, and most importantly, how to protect herself and others. The moment Karen's weight shifted forward, Maya stepped back and to the side, letting Karen's momentum carry her past. The older woman stumbled, her wild swing hitting nothing but air, and crashed into the decorative planter beside Maya's front steps. "That's assault," Officer Chen barked, his handcuffs already in his hands. "Ma'am, turn around and put your hands behind your back." Karen struggled to her feet, dirt and mulch staining her floral dress, her face a mask of rage and humiliation. "She attacked me. You all saw it." "Ma'am, I saw you attempt to strike another person," Officer Chen said firmly, advancing toward her. "Multiple witnesses saw you attempt to strike another person. You're under arrest for assault and battery. This is ridiculous." Karen shrieked, backing away from the approaching officer. "I'm the victim here. I'm the one who called you. I'm the one trying to protect this neighborhood." David stepped forward, his phone still recording. "Officer, I have the entire incident on video. Would you like me to email it to you?" "That would be very helpful. Thank you." Officer Chen continued his measured approach toward Karen. "Ma'am, please don't make this harder than it needs to be." But Karen was beyond reason. "You're all corrupt, all of you. This is a setup, a conspiracy." She pointed a shaking finger at Maya. "She planned this whole thing. She moved here specifically to cause trouble, to push out real Americans." The words hit the air like a slap. Every person in the backyard went silent. Even little Tommy stopped splashing in the pool. Maya felt the familiar burning in her chest. Same feeling she'd had in high school when kids made comments about her going back where she came from. The same feeling she'd had in college when professors assumed she was a scholarship student. The same feeling she'd had when house hunting, and seeing how some sellers' attitudes changed when she walked through the door. But this time was different. This time, she wasn't alone. Real Americans. Mr. Patterson's voice was quiet, but carried the weight of his 83 years. "Young lady, my grandfather fought in World War I. My father fought in World War II. I served in Vietnam. And I'm telling you right now, Maya Chen is more of a real American than you'll ever be." Dr. Martinez chose that moment to arrive, her BMW pulling up behind the police cruiser. Maya had texted her the address, and her supervisor had clearly dropped everything to come support her. Rachel Martinez was a formidable woman under normal circumstances, 5 feet 2 inches of pure determination, wrapped in surgical scrubs. But angry Dr. Martinez was a force of nature. "What exactly is going on here?" she demanded, taking in the scene with sharp eyes. Officer Chen paused in his arrest to address the newcomer. "Ma'am, are you involved in this situation?" "I'm Dr. Rachel Martinez, Chief of Pediatrics at Children's Hospital. Maya Chen is one of my nurses, and one of the finest people I've ever had the privilege to work with." Her voice could have cut glass. "Someone called me and said she was being harassed." Karen's eyes lit up with malicious glee. "Doctor, thank goodness someone with authority is here. You need to control your employee. She's running an illegal operation, disturbing the peace, destroying property values. My employee," Dr. Martinez interrupted, her voice dangerously calm, "works 60-hour weeks saving children's lives. She's been Nurse of the Month for times in the past year. She volunteers at the free clinic on weekends. She's currently working on her master's degree in pediatric oncology." She stepped closer to Karen. "What exactly do you do for society?" Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. I maintain neighborhood standards. I protect property values. You harass working professionals who've done nothing wrong," Dr. Martinez said flatly. "Officer, is this woman under arrest?" "Yes, ma'am. Attempted assault." "Good." Dr. Martinez turned to Maya. "Are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine. Just shaken up, Maya." Dr. Martinez's voice softened slightly. "I want you to know that the hospital administration stands behind you 100%. If this ... person tries to cause problems at your workplace, she'll be dealing with our legal department." Karen finally seemed to realize that her situation was spiraling completely out of control. "You can't all gang up on me. This isn't fair. I have rights." You absolutely have rights, Officer Chen agreed, clicking the handcuffs into place. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney, if you cannot afford an attorney. As he continued the Miranda warning, Karen's protests grew increasingly desperate. This is a setup, a conspiracy. You're all working together to frame me. Ma'am, you're on camera attempting to assault someone. Officer Chen said patiently, multiple cameras, multiple witnesses. There's no conspiracy here. But Karen wasn't listening. Her eyes had fixed on something behind Maya, and her expression shifted from rage to calculated malice. The pool, she screamed suddenly. There's a child in danger in that pool. Officer, you have to do something. That woman is endangering children. Everyone turned to look at the pool, where Tommy was still playing peacefully under his grandfather's watchful eye, along with two other children whose parents were sitting right beside the water. Ma'am, I can see the children are properly supervised, Officer Chen said, his patience clearly exhausted. No, look closer. That little boy is in distress. He's drowning. Can't you see he's drowning? Maya felt a chill run down her spine as she realized what Karen was doing. Making a false report about child endangerment was a serious crime. But it was also a calculated move if she could get Child Protective Services involved. She could cause Maya months of legal problems, regardless of the truth. Tommy, Mr. Patterson called out calmly. Can you wave to the nice police officer? Tommy grinned and waved enthusiastically, clearly having the time of his life. Karen's face went ashen as she realized her desperate gambit had failed spectacularly. But, ma'am, filing a false report is a felony, Officer Chen said, his tone now completely professional and cold. Are you sure you want to continue making false statements? That's when the second police car arrived. Officer Sarah Rodriguez stepped out, took one look at the scene, and walked directly to her partner. Bradley, what do we have here? Attempted assault, harassment, possible hate crime, and now filing false reports. Officer Chen replied grimly, Ma'am, this is going to be a long night for you. Karen's bravado finally cracked hate crime. I never said anything about hate. I just wanted to protect my neighborhood. Ma'am, you repeatedly used the phrase, you people, in reference to the homeowners race. Officer Rodriguez noted, out her own notepad, you made statements about real Americans and taking over. These statements, combined with your actions, suggest bias motivation. That's not what I meant, Karen protested, but her voice had lost its earlier fire. I just ... I didn't mean ... David stepped forward with his phone. Officers, I have the entire interaction recorded, including the racial statements. I can email the file to both of you. Officer Rodriguez nodded. That would be extremely helpful. Ma'am, you're looking at multiple charges here: assault, harassment, filing false reports, and possible bias intimidation. As the officers began walking Karen toward the patrol car, she made one last desperate attempt to salvage her narrative. Wait, what about the party permits? The noise violations? The property damage? You can't just ignore all of that. Officer Chen stopped and turned back to her with something that might have been pity. Ma'am, there are no permit requirements for private parties. The noise ordinance doesn't apply until 10 p.m. There's no property damage. You've wasted city resources, harassed a law-abiding citizen, and committed multiple crimes in the process. He shook his head. The only person who's violated any laws here today is you. As Karen was loaded into the back of the patrol car, still protesting her innocence, Maya felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. She'd won this battle, but the victory felt hollow. All she'd wanted was to have a nice pool party with her friends. Dr. Martinez put a gentle hand on her shoulder. Maya, are you sure you're okay? I think so, it's just ... I never expected anything like this. Prejudice rarely announces itself clearly, Dr. Martinez said sadly. It usually hides behind complaints about property values and neighborhood standards. But you handled it perfectly. You stayed calm, you documented everything, and you let her reveal herself. As the police cars pulled away, Maya looked around at her guests, her friends. Her colleagues, Mr. Patterson and Tommy, even Dr. Martinez, who'd dropped everything to support her. The pool party was supposed to be over, but nobody was leaving. So, Jessica said, breaking the heavy silence, anyone else ready for a drink? because I think we all need one after that." The tension broke like a dam bursting. People began moving again, talking, laughing nervously, processing what they'd just witnessed. Maya felt the knot in her chest begin to loosen. But as she looked at her security camera, still recording faithfully, she realized this wasn't over. Karen Morrison was gone, but her charges would work their way through the legal system. There would be court dates,